Hello everyone. Today in this channel we are going to discuss how do you configure the continuous integration, continuous deployment, which is CI/CD with your Terraform code. We are going to discuss one of the way which I am using since a couple of years now in my project. There could be multiple ways to configure CI/CD based on the approach which you define for your project or architecture of your infrastructure as code. We are going to use one of them. Now, before we begin the discussion, it's my humble request to click on the subscribe button here on my channel and subscribe to my channel. Without getting further delay, let's begin the discussion. To have the demonstration of CI/CD, I have a simple Terraform code which is basically creating a resource group with my main.tf file. In here, I'm just creating a resource group in Azure. This particular resource group is getting the parameter pass from this variable file dev.tf. Considering I'm creating a dev environment, I'm creating a resource group for a dev environment. This is just a simple demonstration of the Terraform code because our objective is not to focus on the complexity of the Terraform. It's more about how do you configure the CI/CD. By the end of the video, the way we are going to configure our CI/CD will look like this. In our continuous integration, continuous deployment pipeline, we would have two stages. One is the validate stage. Basically, validate stage will be responsible for validating our Terraform code and it will generate the plan. And we would have a next stage, which is a deploy stage, which will actually takes the plan as an input and then apply that particular plan to the target environment or the target subscription. Between the validate stage and the deploy stage, we would also set up the approval gates in place so that as a reviewer, when the code is being checked into your repository, the validation will apply automatically. That will generate the plan, and as a reviewer, I would be able to review the plan, and once I'm happy, I would approve the pipeline and the pipeline will be deployed to the target environment. That's the whole setup which we are going to perform as part of this particular exercise. I hope you are finding this exercise interesting. If it is, then please give it a like to this particular video. Let's first of all create. Just to let you know, we are going to use the YAML definition for configuring our CI/CD pipeline because YAML is the future and it can be used. It is a language which can be used across any DevOps project such as GitHub, Azure DevOps, Ansible, or any other platform. So I'll recommend to use YAML only. So let's create a folder called pipeline at the root directory at the root level. And here I'm going to call the pipeline stage as a validate stage. You can create a YAML file with either YML or YAML extension. So I'll create with YAML, create as is, commit as is. You can also do one thing is you can go to the pipeline, create new pipeline, hit repository, CI/CD demo, and then create a start new pipeline. And this way you can define your pipelines /pipeline because we know the location of our pipeline folder and then put our pipeline. So I'll create another file called deploy and then I'll check in as is. You can see that we have now this file which has been created from the pipeline interface and this file we have created manually which is empty at the moment. Let's add this empty file to our pipeline as well. So I'll go to new pipeline. This is another option which I'm showing you here. Demo, use existing because we have created the existing file. So I'm going to use the validate here. Continue, and this will add this particular file. When you edit the YAML file right here in the, look at carefully, I'm just using the browser to edit my pipeline and Microsoft provides the IntelliSense in the browser itself. You don't need to have any specific ID, though if you want you can modify or design your pipeline in any ID of your choice, but just for the demonstration I'm using the browser. So just to let you know that the browser also supports the IntelliSense. So basically your pipeline structure looks like this. Here is your pipeline and then you could have stages, and in these stages you could have multiple stage called just like shown here, stage A, and within this stage you could have multiple jobs which is a job collection, and again you can have another stage which would have another set of jobs. So in the similar pattern we would like to create stages, and within the stage, let's say create a stage. And now here we are going to define our jobs. You can see that I'm getting the IntelliSense. So I'll provide the stage name as in, let's say, validate, okay, job, and within the job we would deploy the job name, steps, because we need to provide what are the different steps we would like to use. So let's use a steps, and within the steps we can say task, for example. Very first task which we need to use the Terraform install, because we would like to tell, okay, this is what the Terraform installation we need. And Terraform install task, you get a setting icon here, you specify this. Now once the installation is completed, next task I would like to run the Terraform task for. This is the Terraform task for running my Terraform init, plan and apply command. So you can get the information about this task. If you haven't installed, you can go and check the task information. So if I go to my the marketplace, browse the manage extension, I have already installed this particular Terraform task. So this is what you need as a prerequisite. If I go to the provide the setting of this particular task, this is the information about the task, which provider you want to run the Terraform, Azure RM, which command we would like to run, init, plan, validate, apply. So first of all, we would like to run the init command, the configuration directory. So this is where the default directory is. So basically this particular YAML file, when it is going to run, in the default directory our repository source code will be downloaded. So for example, in this particular directory location the source code will be downloaded. Now we would like to tell, okay, under this directory you have IAC, because we know the path location. So I'm appending the path location here, IAC, and then we also have the this is my location of my code. So this is the TF code, and under the TF code we have the entire source code available, right? So this is how you can specify. Now let's provide the Azure subscription. So for Azure subscription, I have created the service endpoint. So if you go to the project setting here, and under the project setting you have the service connections. So we have already created a service connection. If you're not sure about how do you create a service connection, I have the detail provided here on my blog, which has the list of steps to configure the service principal. I'll provide the link in the description. Considering you have these subscriptions, select the subscription, resource group. Basically this particular information we are providing so that we would like to configure the remote backend for our Terraform. Once this detail is provided, click on add, then arrange the indentation of the task. That's it. I'm just putting the tabs. So this is how it looks like. So our Terraform init is okay. Now let's go ahead and use I'm copying the same set of values again, but this time basically I'm going to use the Terraform plan. So I'll create another task, same task 01, add the settings. This time I'll use plan. I'll copy the same code location. So this is our plan stage. Now let's do one thing, let's run this particular plan. So I'll go ahead and save this just to test this particular stage, so we would know that whether we are able to run this or not. So you can see that it's queuing right now. I'll see if it is working. As we can see, both the stages are working. We have the Terraform install with this version, and we have the Terraform initialization, and then Terraform plan is working. But this task is we are not getting the clear idea of what this means. So let's go ahead and modify these particular stages. But the stage objective of the stage is clear now. So to provide the detail of the task so that it displays the proper value, let's provide the display name. So basically this is what it will display over there, Terraform init, and then I'll use the same settings over there as well. So if we will call it as an Terraform plan, so we know that this is going to work fine. So we have got the installation and then Terraform plan as well. Now next step which we will be using here in this case is task for copy, because we would like to copy all our, so I'll use the copy files. Same, I'll go to settings, and here in this case I'll provide the same values. So we would like to copy everything from this folder, and then target folder we are going to say staging directory. Okay, and provide the indentation using the tab. That's it, that's fine. So we have copied. Now at the last we need to publish this as an artifact, and to publish this as an artifact I'm going to use the publish artifact task. So this is the task which we are going to use to publish the task, publish our work. So we are going to publish everything from here to going to call this as a Terraform, and this is an artifact. So let's see if it has automatically run. Yep, this was our pipeline which has just now triggered. I'll wait for this to complete. You can see that our validated stage has successfully run and it has published the artifact. You can view the artifact right from here, or you can click here to check the artifact. I'll click here and validate the artifact which it has generated, and I can see that it has uploaded all the files including the plan file, because we have output the plan, and this is the plan which we are going to use basically to deploy. We have our next pipeline. This is the one which we have created from the UI. So I'll go ahead and remove everything, and from here we are going to use the steps. This time again we are going to use Terraform install, same settings. I'll copy the remaining steps from the previous file. So this is what I have copied. Same thing, it's going to initiate, but instead of plan we are going to use validate and deploy. We're going to specify the plan value. I'll change it to apply display name, save. I'll create another one, create file cicd.yaml, commit as is, create existing pipeline, new. This time I'm going to use cicd.yaml, and here here we are going to modify our implementation. I'm going to use the pool. You can, if you have any custom self-hosted pool, you can specify the pool, but I'm not going to specify the pool for now. So let's use this stages, and from stages we would have the stage called validate. We would also have a stage called deploy, and from the stage we are going to provide the job template, and from this template basically we are going to call our pipeline. So I'll say the deploy or validate.yaml, and similarly we are going to have the jobs and then template for the validate file, basically the deploy. This is what it's going to look like. Let's see if it works. So we are calling from this particular file to our validate file, and here we have this stage, and in our validate file itself we have this stage. So what we need to do is, and that's where it is complaining, so what do we need to do is we need to remove the stages from there. So I'll go ahead and change our validate file. So from the validate file I'll remove these stages, So I think there is some problem with the indentation, so let me correct the indentations. I'll use my notepad and correct the indentation. I'll pause the video while I'm correcting it. Let's save this. Now try to run. Line number 40, we have got the problem with the indentation. Yeah, here. Now basically this is our validated stage, which will call this particular YAML file, and in our deploy stage we would like to have a deployment job. Under the job we would have deployment, and in the deployment we are basically going to tell this is the deployment of deploy, and then we would say deployment strategy run once. We are going to use the deploy steps template, and we are going to call the template, which is our deploy.yaml file. Let's see if it is working. So it requires environment as well, so we need to specify the environment. So let me see if we have an environment variable here. So we have the environment variable which we are going to call, for example, let's say dev environment. Let's try and run now. So now you can see that we have the two stages, validate and deploy. Both of them are basically configured successfully. Just to repeat here, this is our validate stage. On this particular stage we are calling the validate.yaml file, which will run the Terraform init and plan, and it will generate the artifact along with that particular plan. And here what we are going to do is we are going to download the artifact, and that's the reason we are using the deploy stage, and we are calling the we are using the deployment section here. And in the deployment we need to specify the environment. So we have specified the environment name as dev environment, and then this is what the deployment strategy we are using, and in the deployment strategy we are defining the deployment.yaml template. But I think we need to have some changes in our pipeline, so let's leave it as is. So if I go back to our pipeline, so from the installation we have used the apply. So first of all we need to use the download artifact task. So let's use a task called the download artifact task. Download build artifact. It has got some inputs, the name of the artifact which we would publish. So the artifact name which we have defined here on this particular file. So in the deployment stage we are basically deploying the artifact, providing the name of the artifact, which is this one. Let's say for example, so this is what our artifact name is going to be. Download type, it has to be single. Download path has to be artifact staging directory, and from here onwards we are going to use the same file, because our path will be, this is where our source code is going to be downloaded, so we are going to use it from here. So all our code will be work from this particular location. And then I can go to the main file. Let's see. So plan is successfully completed. We have the artifact. Let's see if it is going to deploy. The deployment is also started. It's trying to download the artifact. Artifact says downloaded. It's trying to install the Terraform, and at the initialization it has failed. If you get this kind of error, it means the Terraform location which is trying to find, it's not correct. So let's go ahead and check which location it's trying to use. So I'll go to deploy. Under the deployment we have, so let's see where we have downloaded. So we need to use this directory now, /terraform, because the reason for that is, if you see, this is our artifact folder name. This is the name of the target folder where we are using the copy task which we have used. This is the target folder we have mentioned in our copy task. So artifact name, target folder name, and that's where we have all our source code. So now we need to specify this particular location in our deployment stage. So we're going to put the file location like this, and that this should be fine. Okay, now let's see if we are able to see the changes. Waiting for build to be completed. It has successfully initialized, and you can see that it's creating the resource group, and resource group is completed, creation is completed. So we have successfully run our CI/CD, validate and deploy. Now if I go to the environments, this is what my environment name is. I can specify the approval gates. I'll do that later. Before this, you can see that we have used so many coded values in our pipeline. So what we are going to do now, we are going to change the hard code settings. So let's say if we go to the pipeline, here in this particular pipeline, currently this is what the situation is. So let's go to our deployment first. So this is what we need. So we need a parameter, various parameters here. So let's define the parameters. So I'm just providing the different parameters, and this is the location. So where is my Terraform code, variable file path name, environment name, service principal name, backend storage, location details, and all these parameters I'm going to use it here, so that this particular YAML validate file is our generic file. So let's commit this. Now from our CI/CD we are going to pass the parameters. So basically we are defining the parameters here and the actual values from here, and we are passing the parameters like this. This is our validate stage, and validate stage has got these many parameters, and this is our deploy stage, and deploy stage has got these many parameters. So let's commit this and let's see if we have got the changes. So now you can see that previously when we were deploying the changes, let me show you, we had a validate and deploy stage, but now when we have the changes, we have a validate underscore dev and validate underscore deploy underscore dev, because we are ending the suffix with an environment name here. So that's how it gets the name. And also at the deployment stage, the environment name of the environment has got validate as in parameters dot environment name, so which is the name of the environment. And if I go to the environments, this is what the environment currently used. You can see the deployment is going on right now. My validate stage is completed and it's waiting for the deployment on the dev environment. Okay, now if I go to, this is my environments, I go here on the pipeline environments, this is the environment section. I can open this environment, attach an approval and checks here. So I will attach an approval as myself. Next I'll add a user, I'll add user myself, create. So what will happen now, if anytime the deployment is going to run, then basically it will ask for the approval. So let's see. So what we are going to do now is, let's go to the files. In the Terraform code, in the variable section, I'm going to add another tags. So let's say tags called, okay, and once I'm going to commit, this should hit pipeline trigger, and this is how the approval get will work. So if I'm going to check here, I'll see it's waiting for review. Anytime I can go ahead and review the plan, and once I'm happy, I can go ahead and approve, basically approve or reject the pipeline. This is how you can set up the CI/CD for your project, and we have seen that the pipeline which we have created is a generic pipeline. So this particular pipeline section, which is build, validate and deploy, it can be reused multiple times because we haven't hard coded anything. So now let's say if you need to have a pipeline created for another environment or another project, then you just need to create this particular YAML file and provide these listed parameters, and then you are basically invoking these two steps, which is validate and deploy. And basically this is what these two files would give you the entire setup for deploy and validate. Okay, I hope this was helpful. If you think following up through video is getting difficult to configure the pipeline, I would recommend to use my blogs, which I have described here with the CI/CD configuration. I'm going to share the link here, and I'm also sharing the code here in this particular blog. So if you want to download the source code and then configure it your own, you can do it yourself. I hope you are finding this particular video useful. If it is, then please give it a like to the video and don't forget to subscribe the channel. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.